Welcome to the Deep Dive. I'm Liam,
I'm Zoe.
ready to have your minds blown,
We're diving deep into how language can actually shape the way we think.
which is especially cool for anyone out there learning English.
Yeah. It shows how powerful language is.
And just how much you're learning even beyond the words themselves.
Exactly. We'll be keeping things simple today, so no worries if you're just starting out.
Think of this deep dive as a fun shortcut to learning some really cool stuff about language.
Our expert for this adventure is,
Lera Boroditsky.
yeah, she's a scientist who studies how language affects our minds.
Perfect.
And she's got some amazing stories to tell.
Okay, so first stop.
Australia.
Lera takes us to meet the Cucacha people.
They live in the outback and have a totally different way of thinking about space.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
Here's the wild part. They don't use words like left and right at all.
Wait, what? How do they tell each other where things are?
Instead of left and right, they use the cardinal directions north, south, east, and west.
Like on a compass.
Exactly. And I mean, they use them for everything, to tell you where to go, where something is.
But if I wanted to tell a Cucacha friend about a spider on their arm, I'd have to say something like, hey, there's a spider on your southeast arm.
Exactly. Can you imagine having to think about directions like that all the time?
My head would be spinning.
But here's the thing.
Okay.
Lera found that this constant awareness of direction actually makes the Cucacha incredible navigators.
Really?
Even their kids can point to southeast without a second thought.
That's amazing. I'd probably need a compass and a map.
It's like their language has given them a superpower,
Yeah.
a built-in compass that most of us can only dream of.
Okay, so language can actually change how we understand space. That's pretty mind-blowing.
And it gets even more interesting when we look at how the Cucacha think about time.
Okay, I'm all ears. Tell me about Cucacha time.
Well, they don't see time as this abstract thing that flows from past to future.
You mean like a river always moving forward?
Yeah, that's how most people picture it.
Yeah, that's how I usually think of it too. What's different about the Cucacha view?
For them, time is connected to the landscape. If they're facing east, time flows towards them.
No, it's them. Okay.
Turn west and time goes the other way.
Whoa, that's a totally different way of experiencing time.
Right. It's like time is part of the world around them,
Yeah.
not just something inside their heads.
Exactly. It really makes you think about how much our own understanding of time
Yeah, that linear left to right flow.
is influenced by how we read and write.
Exactly.
Fascinating. So the Cucacha have shown us how language can change how we think about space and even time.
Right.
But what about numbers? Surely everyone counts the same way, right?
Not so fast.
Oh.
Lera's research takes us to some communities where languages don't have specific words for numbers beyond a certain point.
You mean they don't have a word for 7 or 8?
Yeah,
That's hard to imagine.
it is. But think about it. If you don't have a word for a number,
Yeah.
how do you even keep track of that quantity?
I guess you wouldn't count in the same way we do.
Exactly.
Sweetly.
And that's exactly what Lera found.
Okay.
These speakers might struggle with tasks that require precise numbers.
Like remembering exactly how many objects they've seen.
Right. It highlights how even something as basic as counting
Yeah.
is shaped by the language we speak.
Incredible.
It really shows how language can be a tool for thinking, not just for talking.
Okay. My mind is officially blown.
Good.
We've seen how language can shape our ideas of space-time and numbers.
Yeah.
What else can it influence?
Get ready for this one. It can even affect how we see color.
Hold on. You mean some people see different colors than others just because of the language they speak?
Not exactly. It's more nuanced than that. But the number of color terms in a language
Okay.
can actually influence how people perceive and categorize colors.
Okay, I'm really curious now. Give me an example.
Take Russian, for instance. They have separate words for light blue and dark blue.
Okay, yeah.
And guess what? Russian speakers are actually faster at distinguishing between those shades.
Then English speakers who just have one word for blue.
Exactly.
Wow. So their language is like giving them an extra tool to see the world in more detail.
Exactly. It's as if their language is fine-tuning their perception,
Yeah.
making them more sensitive to those specific color differences.
This is all so fascinating. I had no idea language could have such a powerful impact on how we see the world around us.
And we're just getting started.
Oh, no.
There's so much more to discover about how language shapes our thoughts.
I can't wait to hear more. But for now, let's take a little break
Okay.
and come back to explore even more mind-blowing examples.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive.
It feels like we've already learned so much.
We've seen how different languages can lead to different ways of understanding.
Space-time,
Yeah.
numbers,
Uh-huh.
and even colors.
It's amazing, right? But there's even more to explore.
Okay, I'm ready for more.
Yeah.
What's next on our language adventure?
Let's talk about memory.
Yep.
Yeah, did you know that the language you speak can actually influence what you remember about an event?
Really? I thought memories were just like pictures in our mind.
It's not that simple. Let's go back to that example of a broken vase.
The one where the kukacha might describe it using cardinal directions.
Right. But this time, let's focus on how different languages might describe who broke the vase.
Okay, I'm listening.
In English, we tend to say, he broke the vase,
Yeah,
even if it was an accident.
right.
But in some languages like Spanish,
Hmm.
you'd be more likely to say the vase broke or the vase broke itself.
If it was unintentional.
Exactly.
Interesting.
And Lera's research shows that this difference
Oh.
in how we describe events can actually lead to differences in what we remember.
You mean like we remember different things depending on the language?
Yeah, English speakers,
Okay.
because they tend to use a structure that emphasizes the agent.
The person who did it.
Exactly, are more likely to remember who broke the vase.
Whereas Spanish speakers might be more focused on whether it was an accident or not.
Precisely. It's a fascinating example of how language can shape our memories
Wow.
without us even realizing it.
That's pretty incredible. It makes you wonder how much of what we remember is influenced by the language we speak.
It's a question worth pondering,
Yeah.
and it has real-world implications, too.
Oh, like what?
Think about eyewitness testimony, for example.
Oh, yeah. Of course.
If witnesses speak different languages, their memories of the same event could be quite different.
Right, because their languages might lead them to focus on different aspects of the event.
Exactly.
And that can affect what they remember and how they report it.
Precisely. It
Yeah.
seems like language is much more than just a tool for communication.
It's more like a filter that shapes how we experience and remember the world.
That's a great way to put it.
Or-
And this filtering effect
Yeah.
extends to our moral judgments as well.
You mean how we decide what's right and wrong?
Exactly. Lera's research suggests that languages that require you to specify the intentionality of an action can actually make you more sensitive to those intentions.
So if a language forces you to say whether an action was done on purpose or accidentally,
Yeah.
you might be more likely to consider those factors when judging someone's behavior.
That's the idea. It's as if the language itself is nudging you to pay attention to certain details.
It's amazing to think that something as seemingly simple as grammar can have such a profound impact on how we think.
It really challenges the notion that language is just a neutral tool for expressing our thoughts.
Yeah, it's more like language is actively shaping those thoughts in subtle but powerful ways.
Exactly.
Wow.
And that's what makes this research so fascinating. It opens up a whole new way of understanding how language and thought are intertwined.
So we've covered a lot of ground today. We've seen how language can influence our sense of direction, our understanding of time, our perception of color, our memories, and even our moral judgments.
It's been quite a journey, right?
Yeah, definitely. And we're not done yet.
Nope.
Okay, I'm ready for the grand finale.
All right.
What other amazing insights about language does Lera have in store for us?
In the final part of our deep dive,
Okay.
we'll zoom out and explore the bigger picture.
You mean like how all this affects society as a whole?
Exactly. How can we use this knowledge to create a more understanding and inclusive world?
Those are some big questions.
Yeah.
Can't wait to delve into them with you. But for now, let's take a short break
Okay.
and come back for the final chapter of our language exploration. Welcome back to the deep dive. Feels like we've traveled the world exploring how different languages shape the way people think.
We've seen how language can influence everything from our sense of direction to our memories,
Yeah.
even our ideas about right and wrong.
It's really made me realize that language is so much more than just words. It's a powerful tool that shapes our entire experience of the world.
Exactly. And that brings us to the big question.
Okay.
What does all this mean for us as a global community?
Okay, I'm all ears.
Yeah.
What's the big picture here?
Well, Lera Boroditsky argues that protecting the diversity of languages is incredibly important for all of humanity.
That makes sense. We've seen how each language offers a unique way of seeing the world. It'd be a shame to lose that richness.
Yeah, it's like having a huge library full of books, and each book gives you a different perspective on life.
Yeah.
Losing even one of those books means losing a valuable way of understanding the world.
So how do we protect this linguistic diversity? It seems like so many languages are disappearing.
Well, one important step is supporting communities who are working hard to revitalize their languages,
Okay.
especially those that are endangered.
So helping them teach their languages to younger generations and keep those traditions alive.
Exactly. And it's not just about preserving culture. It's about preserving different ways of thinking,
Yeah.
which can benefit all of us.
Because the more ways we have of thinking, the better we'll be at solving problems and facing challenges together.
Exactly. Think of it like this. If everyone sees the world through the same lens, we might miss out on important details
Yeah.
or creative solutions.
That's a great point. It's like having a team of detectives,
Yeah,
each with their unique skills and perspectives, working together to solve a case.
that's a fantastic analogy. And this idea of valuing different perspectives can help us in so many areas of life.
Like education.
Exactly. Instead of a one-size-fits-all approach,
Right.
we can celebrate those differences and create learning environments where everyone can thrive.
I love that idea. And what about technology? It seems like so much of the digital world is dominated by just a few languages.
That's true, but we can use what we've learned about language and thought to design technology that's more inclusive
Okay.
and accessible to speakers of diverse languages.
So instead of assuming everyone thinks in the same linear step-by-step way,
Right.
we can create systems that embrace different ways of processing information.
Right. Imagine a world where language technology allows us to seamlessly communicate and collaborate with people from all over the world.
Yeah. Regardless of their native tongue.
That would be incredible. A world where language barriers truly disappear and everyone has a voice.
That's the dream.
Yeah.
And understanding the power of language is a crucial step towards making that dream a reality.
This has been an amazing deep dive. We've learned so much about how language shapes our thoughts,
Yeah.
and we've even glimpsed the potential it holds for creating a more understanding and connected world.
It's been a pleasure exploring these ideas with you.
Same here.
And remember, the journey doesn't end here. Keep exploring, keep learning, and keep celebrating the incredible diversity of languages
Yeah,
and the unique ways of thinking they represent.
well said. Thanks for joining us on the deep dive. We'll see you next time for another fascinating adventure.